By fans, for fans, the Hog Style. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Folks, welcome to the Hog Style, DC's unofficial leading source for all things Redskins and the NFL. Back with you again to talk all the happenings around the NFL and, of course, all the football news in the nation's capital. My name's Sean. I got Alex and Steve here with me. How are you guys doing tonight?
Just peachy and or keen, as the old words go. Very excited. One or the other or both. I'm very excited about two things that are going on currently. Number one is the Pro Bowl. I'm so excited about the Pro Bowl. And we're actually going to have an extensive 30-minute breakdown of Pro Bowl strategy and players in this episode. Let's not say that because people might have turned the episode off if we do that. The other thing is, this is totally out of left field. I was very excited to see Vinnie Vincent from Kiss reemerge after 20 years.
Vinnie Vincent?
Yes.
I thought he was dead.
Do what?
Well, that's the thing. It's been a big mystery. Nobody knew if he was alive or dead, and he appeared at a Kiss fan, one of those Kiss fan conventions.
Well, I know they've been doing like a lot of cruises lately and stuff like that.
But he hasn't surfaced in 20 years for any reason whatsoever.
That's when your career is really over, is when you hit the cruise or the casino circuit,
Yeah.
Well, that's when you're just barely holding on.
If you've heard them recently, Paul Stanley absolutely cannot sing anymore.
No.
Just can't do it.
Oh, that happens with age.
Well, and Gene Simmons has gone
you know.
insane, too. We also know that.
Gene Simmons was always insane.
Well, but now he's
Yeah.
like not like rebel insane. He's like rich guy insane, which is less appealing.
Yeah, he's a little out there. But the thing about Vinny that I wanted to point out, I saw a photo of him. I gotta say, he had makeup on, and it looked like he was wearing women's clothes. I mean, to each their own. I don't know if he's transitioning or what. Hope he's happy, but it was somewhat startling to see.
He's just trying to keep that party going,
I mean,
Steve.
It's just a different kind of party now, that's all.
Well, I mean, come on, Steve. Also, rockers from a certain generation always kind of dressed like they were wearing women's clothes. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and it's not like Vinny's.
There's a certain degree of femininity.
Vinny's not exactly none of those guys are exactly the most level-headed people in the world. So who knows? It could have just been. I just thought he looked very odd. That's all.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Beautiful. Well, before we get into the show from there, guys, for a fleeting moment the other day, I have to tell you about this. I was panicked the other day that we weren't affiliated with a company selling Super Bowl tickets. How are Hogstye fans supposed to get to the big game, guys? I was so depressed. I curled up in the fetal position. It was terrible. Until I remembered our sponsors at TicketClub.com. Guys, TicketClub.com has your tickets to the Super Bowl ready to go. Head on over there and pick them up, or snag tickets to any other live event that you might be interested in, be it music, live entertainment, or sports. It's just one click away from thehogstye.com.
And if you're going to head over there, please click through on our website.
Right.
Make us happy.
Right.
Don't
because
just head over there
that's how
directly.
we get credit. There's no passcode or anything like that.
Don't head over there directly. No. Head to thehogstyle.com and then to Tech Club.
Yeah. It's right on the top banner.
Enter discount code HOGS to get 0% off your purchase.
There's a big ad right on top of our website that says TicketClub.com. You just click that and we'll get credit if you buy anything. So do it. Do it.
There you go. Click it twice.
And you can try to enter. The code if you want, but it won't really get you anything.
I don't think there is a code place on their page.
You can try to enter Hogstye somewhere, but it won't get you any discounts.
Yeah,
as Sean said,
it was for 0% off. Anyway,
right.
So. Well, speaking of Super Bowl, that's a perfect segue, right? Because we had a poll this week about the Super Bowl itself.
We did have a poll this week. We haven't been doing a poll every week, but we had a poll this week.
Mm-hmm.
And the question this week was, the Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl is coming up in just 2 weeks. If you have to root for one team or the other, not picking a team isn't an option, which would it be? Tell us why. Now, we kicked this around a little bit off the air. What should the poll be? And my original thought was, let's put a none in there, or asteroid hitting the Earth kind of thing.
Right, which is my favorite answer.
Alex quite correctly pointed out that would probably be 100% in favor of the asteroid, so it wouldn't be a very good poll. So we deleted that. So, excuse me. So your only two options on this were Eagles and Patriots.
Right.
So as I always do every week when you do these polls, I will ask you guys, what do you think the fans voted for in this poll? And then what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'll go first because I have strong feelings that I think Redskins fans are definitely not able to root for the Eagles. I know that a lot of people are traditional, like I root for the NFC no matter what, but, there's something that churns a lot of fan stomachs about rooting for especially the Eagles and the Cowboys, I feel like, more than the Giants even. in the Redskins fan base. So I'm going to say that the Skins fans are going to root for the Patriots, and I'm going to say it's probably not even close, like 75%.
Okay. Sean, give us your opinion.
Wow.
What do you think?
Short version is I agree with Alex in terms of what the fan base is going to say. I think the fan base is probably going to go for Patriots. I think we're a stubborn bunch in terms of our rivals. In terms of my personal opinion, which you wanted my personal opinion
let's
too,
say
right?
that because let's get through the answers and we'll talk
Okay.
about the personal opinions.
Yeah. I was just giving my opinion on what the fans
Fair
thought.
enough.
Right. Okay. Well,
Fair
so you guys are both right. This week's poll by a vote of 81%.
Oh, wow. I was even low.
Yeah, you were. The Patriots won the poll by 81%. The Eagles only 19%.
Wow.
Now, we got
That's surprising.
I think I need to run for president on a Fuck the Eagles platform then, if that's what
that
happened.
would get some votes. At least in DC. You might not want to run for president. You might want to run like for DC City Council or something.
Yeah.
That might get you more.
Hey, I've actually thought about that in the past, so don't tempt me.
now this poll we got some pretty good participation. Didn't get the tons and tons and tons of votes for the one a couple weeks ago that Brian Mitchell retweeted for us, but I got a lot.
You got to get over
comments.
that, Steve. That we're not going to get Brian Mitchell to retweet our polls
I
every
wish
week.
Brian, would just retweet it for us every
salty.
week. Do us a solid, Brian. Anyway, but we did get tons and tons and tons of comments, so I can't possibly read all these. But I'm going to start.
Give us a
I'm
good
gonna give you
sampling.
a good sampling.
I love the comments.
I'm going to read this one from Red Giant 07. Who was at Red Giant 07 first, because this pretty closely subscribes to the way I believe. Mm-hmm. And he writes that, I'd rather Tom Brady discover the fountain of youth and win Super Bowls till the end of time than cheer for the Eagles.
Right.
Oh, God. Thank you for writing in. I couldn't disagree.
That's fine.
That's a little hyperbole there, I hope.
No, it's really not.
Yeah, seriously.
But I'll give you a contrasting opinion here. Jim Klein, who is at Jim Klein 1968, he says, I hate the Eagles, but I will hold my nose and root for them because the Pats win too much. Other teams that are consistently good, e.g. the Packers, have down years now and then, but not the Pats. It gets old to see the same team winning every year. So that's one. Yeah. We'll go with Nicholas Norris, who is at R_Norris. Patriots because 6 rings for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick is better than 1 for Philly.
All
I
right.
don't mind that. And I'll give you, let's see, Ashburning, who is at Johnny Local. He's one of our local or our sort of regulars.
He's pretty notorious on Twitter, though. He interacts with a lot of major radio shows, and I hear them mentioning him at this point.
Yeah, he does. He's all over, so we got to mention him too. That's why I highlighted him.
Yeah.
And he writes, I'm going to do the unthinkable. I will root for the Eagles. They don't have a ring and their fans are bitter. Maybe it's time they drop the salt. Patriots got to be stopped. Pretty much worst Super Bowl ever. Only Cowboys could be worse.
He's right there.
And because I got to end on a better note than that, we're going to end with Alex W., who is at Penn's Redskins 206. He says, we can't have the Eagles winning because all of our quips about no Super Bowls will go out the window. And he's got a very good point there.
He does.
That's true. We go back to that well a lot, don't we, as a fan base?
And again, thank you for all the comments. And by the way, people, about these polls, if understand that unless you respond to the poll, I will never find it. I appreciate the fact that you retweet these things for us. It helps us get more votes. But if you retweet and comment, we will never, ever see it. So please, if you're going to comment, please respond to it.
Yeah. Well, do both. Or do both. You could retweet it with your comment and also respond to our poll with your comment. Do it twice.
Just understand that you have to have the comment in a response, otherwise we won't be able to find it.
We get too many retweets and likes and responses to everything we write, so it's hard to keep track. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the poll. So
good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have.
Yeah. So, darn.
Steve, tell us your opinion.
Tell us what about the poll?
Yeah. Where do you sit?
Where I sit is, I think you guys probably know, I hate the Eagles with a fire that is hotter than the sun. Mm-hmm. Only second, I would say third in my sports hatred to the Cowboys and the Celtics. And the reason for that is primarily with the exception of Alex's family, who are I'm sure all good people, I hate and despise the fans of Philadelphia and the people of Philadelphia and the city of Philadelphia. I think the fans of Philadelphia are a bunch of subhuman cretins who deserve. They're not passionate Goombas, as our friend Chris Larry, texted me.
Right.
They are evil, hateful people who have done all sorts of things, and they don't qualify, in my view, as proper sports fans. And so, for that reason,
Steve, I thought you were going to say something controversial. Everyone agrees.
Even my family members who live in Philadelphia and are Eagles fans would agree with that the Philadelphia fans are awful. I mean,
I tried to go a little farther and say I hate the people of Philadelphia, and sort of expand it from just fans to maybe try to get a little bit more controversy in there, because it's really a people of Philadelphia.
Well, if we can take any positive out of this, did you guys catch that video of the Philly fan
running flat out into
the train and running into?
Oh yeah. I don't even understand what was going on there. By the way,
I think there's a symbolic thing in there. There really is a symbolic thing.
I lived there for 4 years. I actually had a lot of fun going to college in Philly because you can get away with just about anything. They don't.
I bet. Yeah,
the cops don't care if they arrest you. They're just going to steal your money and let you go most of the time. So it's a good town to get away with a lot of hijinks. I had so many weird things happen to me on that subway system there. It wasn't I got into a weird fight with a guy who was smoking a cigarette. Then a guy started calling him racist names for smoking a cigarette. So I had to get in a fight with the racist guy. That was a whole thing.
Did you actually get into a physical fight, or was it just
it was a shouting match? A shouting match.
Well, you have to, Steve.
A shouting match. Okay.
Yeah, you're yelling at a guy for smoking a cigarette on a subway. Why would you ever have to yell at a person for that? Everyone should know not to smoke a cigarette on a subway.
Well, it's Philadelphia, though, and so they don't care. But let me finish my thought, though.
Yeah, sorry.
The other half of this is that I don't necessarily hate the Patriots. I respect what they do, and I respect what they've, their accomplishments. I'm just sick and tired of them.
Sure.
And if it was anybody else but Dallas or Philadelphia, even the Giants, I'd even root for the Giants over New England. I don't hate the Giants as much as I do the Eagles and the Cowboys for some reason. But I respect the Patriots. I'm just sick and tired of seeing them win every year, and I'm sick and tired of. It seems like every year Tom Brady becomes more and more of a pretty boy.
Yeah, he's always been the pretty boy.
He wears Uggs. Come on, guys. We've been on this forever. The man
so
wears
for
Uggs.
my personal rooting interest, that's my thing. I hate everything about Philadelphia with a passion, and I'm just sick and tired of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So it's like the least worst option, because I have to pick a side, is to pick the Patriots.
So I am a little more conflicted, obviously, because I have more ties to Philadelphia. And, when it comes to my rooting interest for the team, obviously I'm always going to root for the Redskins over the Eagles in any given situation. But I kind of am leaning towards letting the Eagles just win one, just to get it over with at this point. I'm so sick of their fans constant complaining, and, they're not going to have an excuse now for their attitude and their issues. And they're just still going to be shitty people, and they're going to have to confront that with themselves for most of their lives now. And so I think that might make it worthwhile, just to be like, hey, you don't have a right to, all go to prison after every loss.
Yeah.
Just because you wanted
to be
just
happy
admit
about
that you beat your wife because you beat your wife and you're an asshole.
The Phillies won a World Series. It didn't change anything.
Right.
So, I
suspect the Flyers
you're
have
right.
won a Stanley Cup, haven't they?
I don't really follow hockey, to be perfectly honest. I would be bad on the Hogsty Hockey podcast.
No. Well, I know they must have won one because I just know enough to know they must have won one.
I know I was on I was on a plane with the Flyers one time, and suffice it to say, their attitude matched that of the fans of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The myth, the myth matched reality.
I mean, I know some people who say that the Philadelphia fan base, that weird attitude actually started with the hockey team, and then it just kind of spread out from there, which wouldn't shock me. Hockey's a sport for cretins. So
I think it started with something deep and genetic in the people of Philadelphia that causes them to be miserable human beings.
Well, yeah.
You know what? You knock it, Steve. You knock it. But wouldn't it be nice to have a personality? Wouldn't it be nice to have a team with a personality, a fan base with a personality, even if it was a bad one?
Our fan base has
our identity.
We have a personality.
We used to. I think we.
Oh, yeah,
I think our personality right now is that we're apathetic. Unfortunately.
I think you're right. That's like the defining character. That's not enough. That's just not. That's not a good vibe.
So I'm going to be rooting for Philly just for my family members to be happy, and all those guys I went to college with to be happy for a change. Because God knows they're not happy people on a day-to-day basis.
I want them to continue to be miserable.
Except for my one uncle who's filthy rich. he's pretty
probably happy.
Yeah.
Money doesn't buy happiness, but it's a great down payment.
Exactly.
There you go. I like that. Look, I'm going to agree with Alex on this. I'm going to go Philly just because I don't see them. I know that we've had problems with Philly, particularly this year too, but I don't see them as the big rivalry necessarily in the NFC East as the other two teams. I hate the Giants much more than you do, Alex. I hate the Giants. But I'm going for the Eagles because the percentage of Patriots appearances in Super Bowls that I have been an active fan of the NFL for is it's ridiculous. It's way too much. I'm not saying anything that hasn't already been said, but it's not interesting anymore. I mean, it really is boring. This is like the Patriots League. I think that when you're a coach like Belichick, before you retire, 5 years before you retire, you should be forced to go work for another team for 5 years just to help them do something, before you go out. Because this is it's not interesting anymore. It's boring.
Well, you know what? I hate to
say it. I have major respect for them, just like you said, Steve. Sorry, I have total respect for them too, but it's just not interesting.
And I guess you have to have respect for at least at a minimum what Belichick and Brady have done, because it's those two guys over all these years.
Greatest of all time. But I really do
in terms of New England, I mean, what a bunch of spoiled, entitled brats those guys are.
Yeah, yeah.
Particularly if you're
the fan base,
if you're under a certain age, all is all this winning, but they don't handle it gracefully up there at all.
No,
they're spoiled. They have an attitude. I mean, I wish pain and agony on them too. Just not this week.
I mean, here's the thing about their fan base. They had so long with the Red Sox being the team in town and never winning. And then the Red Sox won, and then everybody started winning all the time in Boston. And they went from being kind of like how we all kind of appreciated Cubs fans for so long to being the worst sports fans in the world.
At least Cubs fans are always the lovable losers, but that was never the case in Boston. They were the whiny, irritating losers.
Yeah, they didn't have the lovable aspect because it's Boston, but you could at least tolerate. You can always tolerate a loser. You can't tolerate an annoying winner.
Or the problem with our fan base is that our fan base has almost become the annoying loser.
Yeah.
Because our fan base is never happy. I mean, newsflash. Mm-hmm. Redskins fans complain about absolutely everything.
Right.
We could dredge up the ghost of Vince Lombardi and pair him with Johnny Unitas and Jim Brown as our team and in their primes, and they would find something to complain about.
Well, it would be the fact that Johnny Unitas is, not a deep ball passer anymore.
He lost his arm.
See, that's exactly my point. See, people, Alex just did it for us.
I can find. I'm a master at the whole I can bitch about anything thing.
That's why you're the perfect Redskin.
Right. Exactly. I don't know if one made the other or vice versa.
Who knows? Debate for another time, perhaps. Well, let's move on from there. Do we want to talk? We actually have to talk probably. Or actually, what do you guys want to do? We have some Redskins stuff to talk about, but we also could talk about the championship games.
Let's do the championship games first.
Yeah, real quick.
Let's do that.
Can we all just agree that the Eagles-Vikings game was really disappointing just because it became a blowout so quickly?
It was very disappointing to watch. Yes.
Yeah.
And after watching the mic'd up clips of the Vikings and how excited they were, oh man,
I think they kind of got
so depressing,
overwhelmed by the moment. Maybe.
There's
not a lot of players on that team that has a ton of experience. Not that the Eagles do either, but I mean, Case Keenum has never won anything.
No.
These guys like Adam Thielen.
What are you talking about? Won anything?
Well, I know that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, no knock on Keenum. He had a great year and everything, but it's not like the guy has a ton of postseason experience, and he didn't have it in college either at the University of Houston.
No,
and these like their main guys. Adam Thielen. He's young.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of think that once things started to go south.
Cascaded.
It just cascaded and got away from them. I mean, I predicted the Eagles would win, but I didn't think it was going to be a blowout like that.
Yeah, I don't think anyone did because we all saw the Vikings defense and thought, well, that'll travel well to even an outdoor team, cold weather.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing at some point early in the game, they put up this little stat that I didn't know about, that no outdoor or indoor team has ever beaten an outdoor team on the road in a conference championship game.
You sure about that? Didn't Green Bay lose one at home?
I don't
6-7 years ago.
Yeah, but who did they lose to? I don't remember.
Okay, we're gonna have to look that up.
It was just some stat they threw up there, and I was like, that's puzzling if that's true. I mean, it was something like 0-12. It wasn't a small number. Yeah,
well, it's a pretty big deal for a team that's played in the Dome all year long to come out and go to a cold weather Northeast team like that, and on top of all the nerves and everything else that they're going to have in a game like that. I mean, it's not surprising.
No, it's not surprising. But you would think it would be like a 40-60 thing.
Or at least some, 1-12 maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Somebody would have won. Maybe the Vikings will learn from this and come back and be a bit stronger team next year since they got the experience. You have to hope. But I got to be honest, I was so disgusted in this game that I actually vacuumed the house in the fourth quarter of that game. I just couldn't take it.
I'll be honest, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was like, all right, I might as well just fold some laundry right now, because if I just sit here and watch this, I'm going to drink too much, and then I can't go to work tomorrow.
I would have pounded like 6 Sunkissed by the end of it if I just sat there and watched this game.
Yeah.
You wild man. Want to talk about this,
the fun game.
This other game, which I think was much more exciting. Yeah, and I forget. You guys, I mean, well, actually, I think I know. I think everybody here was pulling for the opposite.
Yeah,
I was rooting for a Jacksonville Vikings Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I predicted on this show a week ago that it would be a Patriots-Eagles Super Bowl, and I was right.
Right.
You smarty pants.
I got it. Whenever I'm right, I got to call it out because it doesn't happen very often.
Well, everybody wanted it to happen. How did you guys really think going into this game? How much of the chance, realistically, did you think the Jaguars had? Knowing it's what's that?
20%.
20%. 20%. Yeah.
Not 1%.
20.
I thought they had a fighting shot.
Nice.
I thought if the Jaguars could have got a lot of pressure on to me, here's how to beat Tom Brady. If you want Thomas's opinion on how to beat Tom Brady, particularly if you have good enough corners, defense. I would blitz him relentlessly. I would go man coverage, cover 3, cover 0 at times, blitz him, safety blitz relentlessly all the time. And if he beats you, he beats you. If he picks you apart, on the vacancies created by the backers coming in on blitz, so be it. But I would do it, and I would keep doing it, and I would hit him every single time. I would take a couple of those penalties, roughing penalties, and just do it. That's how I think you can beat Tom Brady if your corners can hang with that. Because what I see of him is he gets frustrated when he gets hit and he starts blaming other people. That's when you see him start to yell at his linemen, and he goes and fusses at McDaniels on the sideline. He's kind of a baby when he gets hit too much. To me, that's how you beat Tom Brady, because I think if he's going to pick apart any coverage you can possibly find, if you just, no matter what you do. So I think the thing is you got to plant him in the ground repeatedly over and over. So I thought if the Jags could have done that and got to him, and it would kind of snowballed on the Patriots a little bit, they had a shot. But you just can't doubt the magic of Tom Brady in the fourth quarter.
No. I mean, you got to get lucky to beat them, no matter what. I don't care if you're the best.
Foxborough.
Yeah, you had. I mean, the Jags probably had the best defense that Brady faced all season there, and
no doubt.
Yeah, still, it just wasn't enough. Maybe if they had somebody better than Bortles in the backfield, they would have done something. But
He did not have a bad game.
He didn't have a bad game, and
I mean, all things
even that wouldn't have been a guarantee, man.
Well, yeah, but listen, people need to understand about what happened here is that the Patriots adapted at halftime.
Well, but that's what they
the
do.
Jags
that's
didn't.
why
the Jags.
That's
why they're great. But at the end of this game, I mean, they were running Leonard Fournette into like 8-9 men in the box on first down repeatedly over and over again. And then they got in a position at the end of the game, late in the fourth quarter, where they had to rely on Bortles to become Brady, basically. And that just isn't going to happen. I mean, no offense to Bortles, but he's not exactly, the ghost of Brett Favre out there. He is who he is. And I don't think
exactly.
I don't think Bortles is the type of guy you can rely on to pull it out like that. And
no.
Turns out they couldn't.
No.
As you said the other week, Steve, Bortles going to
Yeah, somebody copyright that for me.
Right.
Yeah, I like that. I don't know. Can we go back actually really quickly to the Eagles for a second? Because I meant to ask you. Kelly wrote an awesome article about the Eagles as well. I'm sure you guys caught that. If you are listening to this and you haven't checked that out, you definitely should, because it's about sort of the Eagles.
By the way, Kelly's going by
quick
his
rebuild.
real name John now.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, John
Kelly
Morall,
was just
then
a
of Hogsty
pseudonym.
fame, we shall refer to him.
Kelly was always his code name because he didn't want. He was ashamed to be associated with us when he was on the show, but now that he's just writing, he'll go by his real name.
Ashamed. Yeah, he's not ashamed anymore.
He's not ashamed of us. Yeah. Well, I was just going to say it was a great article. I think it put a lot about the Eagles into context. What are you guys thinking about Nick Foles? I mean, this is just a crazy situation that Nick Foles finds himself in right now.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Foles isn't the greatest quarterback in the world, but they have their defense is legit, man. You know, their defense is legit, and they've got good pieces around him. LeGarrette Blount's done a lot more for that team than I kind of thought he would. He's sort of been inconsistent at times in his career. But he's become the hammer that I think we need on this thing. We're going to get to that later because I don't think Alex agrees with me. But, I mean, that's the type of guy, in my opinion, that we need. And so when you have all good pieces around you, you can afford to have a Nick Foles on your team.
Exactly.
And you're going to win some games.
Exactly. And I think,
there you go.
You know, that is the way that I think the Redskins are probably looking towards building, is that they realize – build the other 50 spots, and then, you know, worry about quarterbacks separately. You know
what the problem with that is, Alex? The problem with that is, when does it end? When are you officially done with the other 50 spots?
Oh, you're never done. You're always building. That's.
So when are you going to go out and get the quarterback? That's my point. If you always, I think you can make an argument every single year that, you know, okay, we need defense, we need offense somewhere. At some point, they have to go get the quarterback.
Right. You have to do both at the same time, at all times, and. It's almost like having two brains. You should almost have like one guy whose job it is just to scout and find quarterbacks, and then one guy whose job it is to build a team. You know, like that I think that's kind of the mentality you have to have.
I think the guy who's been scouting quarterbacks for the Redskins is that guy in the movie The Office who's sitting in the basement.
Oh, Milton?
My stapler?
Yeah, that's the guy who's been scouting quarterbacks for the Redskins for the past 25 years.
Sure. Well, right now it's Doug, who apparently is like, you know, just been wandering the countryside looking at quarterbacks in Division III football.
It's a crapshoot, man, according to Doug.
Good Lord. Well, okay, it just goes back to what Doc was saying on the show the other day, if you guys remember. He's saying he doesn't care about re-signing Cousins because the team should be in a place where you can almost plug and play at quarterback. And Steve, you're saying, when does it end? I mean, look at the team. It's not exactly hard to see what we're missing right now. Can't get consistent pressure. There's questions at the receiver position. There's questions at running back. I mean, it's obvious that we need foundational pieces, and I kind of agree. It's just, you know.
It's not a question of where does it end.
We're going to get to this debate later, too. But, I mean, I guess that's kind of where I am. What you guys are saying is, I think, where the Eagles are with Nick Foles.
Right.
They're a good enough team that they can kind of win. Is Carson Wentz a lot better quarterback? Yes. Did they have to extensively modify their offense for Nick Foles? Yes. But they can kind of get away with it because, as much as I hate to say it, they have a lot of good pieces on
and
that
let's
team.
we all knock Nick Foles a little bit, but let's remember, at one point he threw for 4,000 yards in a season. You know, like, we're talking about a guy who can at least sling the ball. He might not have all the tools, but he's got more of them than most backups.
Our former friend Kean Fahey, who now apparently hates us, on this show, 2 years ago? I forget when we had him on.
I think it was our first season. Yeah,
I don't remember. Yeah. But anyway, he has continually bashed.
Love you, Kean.
Yeah, he doesn't love us. I love you too. I mean, he has good stuff, but he's mad at us for some reason or another. Yeah, of course he's mad at everybody. So screw him, like you said. But anyway, he's never liked Nick Foles, you know, and he has a statistical reason and a film reason why he can show you why Nick Foles, despite the 4,000 yards, despite the awesomeness that was his rookie year, isn't really that good a quarterback. And I think he's probably right.
Oh, I think he's right.
Anyway.
Yeah,
I think he's right that Nick Foles doesn't have everything, but I always kind of like, you know how in baseball you say he's a five-tool player? I think there's a lot of quarterbacks who are not five-tool guys, but they have three tools. Nick Foles is one of those. And three tools is enough to get you a bunch of wins in the league.
Name the tools, Alex.
Well, you know, arm strength, accuracy, the, you know, ability to read the field, and pocket awareness, and then you got your footwork.
Sean, Alex, and Steve. Those are the three tools.
I just wanted to see if Alex could, off the top of his head, come up with 5 quarterback tools.
And I think I did, didn't I?
You did a pretty good job.
Yeah, did. That was pretty good.
You did a pretty damn good job.
I was hoping you would be hanging out there going, it would have been more fun. But
the fact
Steve,
is, there's probably more for quarterbacks than 5 tools. But it's just, you know.
Yeah.
We can break it down into a 5-tool system to be a great quarterback today. Anything else we want to talk about these games before we move on to our next topic, folks? Anything else?
We're going to preview. We'll do a game preview on the next show, next week, so we can save
for
that.
the Super Bowl. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, is there anything to say about the Pro Bowl? No.
No. I'm glad that they're going back to AFC,
uninterested.
NFC. That's the only thing that I'll say.
Yeah, I have no interest in trying to break down anything with regard to the Pro Bowl, personally.
Right.
Let's just pretend it's not happening this year, guys, like everybody else
I'll be
does.
honest. What station is it on, even?
I don't know.
Is it still on the ESPN?
It's on TV.
Or is it moved to someone else?
I don't know.
Yeah.
We are a podcast that
G4.
You know, we do this every day. We follow the NFL and our teams very closely, and we track. You know,
it's on the Oprah channel.
Yeah, and we don't know what we don't know what network that.
I don't know what network it's on. I know
it.
it's in Orlando because I heard Kirk Cousins say something about Orlando when talking about the Pro Bowl in an interview. But that's it.
You know more about it than I do, my friend. 100% more.
I'd be upset if I was a player. I think
right.
I'd rather want to go back to Hawaii, not Orlando. But
Yeah.
Of course, those guys can afford to go on any vacation they want in about 2 weeks. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for them, regardless.
Yeah, this is a business trip. It's not a vacation. All right. Well, listen, we have other topics. You guys, as I understand it, have become Redskins running back experts as of late, have you not?
I mean, we've published a lot of stuff. Alex published a column on running backs.
Right.
Last week, I published one of my so what's the deal with columns on so much IP.
Right, you did a statistical thing. I did an opinion thing, and
so why don't you talk, big picture opinion, Alex, first about the nature
that
of
P run was extensive, by the way.
I do my best.
I mean, my opinion about the running back situation that I was talking about was more, what do I think the Redskins need going into next year? What would work best in Jay Gruden's system? And I really have been coming to this conclusion, and it's not a surprise to anybody who reads the comments section on our blog, because we've discussed this a lot down there. But
by the way, comments, can we? But I will get back to running backs in a minute, though. But for those of you out there who don't know, we now have a thriving, extensive commenting community on our site.
Yeah.
So if you want to comment, how many comments are we up to now?
17,000 ish.
And that's the past couple
17
weeks.
In 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you guys want to come over and talk Redskins, because they talk Redskins all day long, and it's so much we can't keep up with it all.
Let's be honest, sometimes they get a little off topic. There was an immigration debate going on.
Oh, it's the Wild West.
When I last checked.
It's the Wild West.
Yeah, I mean,
just buckle up.
Yeah, I mean, but point is, come over to the site and comment, and I know we'd love to have you.
Yeah. We would love to have some new people up there, just because if you love talking about Redskins, those people know every player on the roster. We're talking about people who will, you got probably 300, 500 years of experience, Redskins fans.
And they have nothing else to do but talk Redskins all day long.
Right. It's a bunch of retirees.
Half the people in that comment section should be doing the show instead of me. Hands down.
There are a couple that probably could.
I think a bunch, Some smart people. What we're trying to say is it's a smart community that we got here.
Half
Please
of
come
my
and
good
and we're not going to.
I get.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, and we're not going to censor you unless you go really off the wagon trail. We're not going to censor you, and we're not going to delete comments unless you get racial or something like that on us. So just come over and say whatever you want.
Right. Anyway,
cool.
Running backs.
Let's get back.
Take us back to running backs.
I'm of the opinion that what the Redskins need to do this year is find another guy like Chris Thompson to fill out this running back roster in the worst way. I think we need to. The coaching staff and the front office has been looking for that big power back. You look at Kelly, Samaje Perine, Jones, who we drafted, 2 years ago? We're constantly looking for these bigger guys who can be the power inside back, but they're not working. I'm wondering, my belief is that what we need to do is find more speed guys, maybe a little bigger than Chris Thompson, because we know that's been the problem, right? He's just too tiny. So find someone like 15 pounds heavier, but the same skill set where he gets the outside. He's a good, 50-50 running yards and half receiving yards. Get more of those kind of guys, and just embrace that as how our running game's going to work. So that was kind of the gist of what I wrote. And I know, Steve, you disagree because you want a power back. You want John Riggins.
Well, it's not so much Riggins. I mean, I want LeGarrette Blount.
Right.
A guy like that. I mean, Yeah, I think this team is missing that, and what I've said, I know I've said to you guys offline. I can't remember if I've said this on this show or not, but this year. I mean, I've bashed Jay for 2 seasons for not running the ball enough and giving up too fast on it. I really, for some reason, and this may be because I drank too many Sunkiss watching these games, but I really got the sense that Jay this year more than any other year wanted to run the ball more and tried to stick with it, possibly because he knew our passing game was absolutely no threat at all. So I got the sense that he really knew he had to run this year, but the team just wasn't capable of it.
No.
So I do think that if, like, say, Saquon Barkley for some reason ended up on the Redskins, a guy like that, I think you guys would be surprised to find that a guy like Saquon would get 20, 25 carries a game out of Jay. I'm convinced of that. And if we have a guy like, I do think.
I mean, Pirine was getting 20 carries a game at points.
Yeah, but keep Pirine as a jack.
I know. But I'm just saying, like, for sure we'd give Barkley that many carries if we're giving Samaje that many carries.
And I think Mark Bullock, when did we have Bullock on? 3 weeks ago? Whatever it was. Like that. He brought up a really good point in saying that because Jay's playbook is so huge, that there may be something to the idea that because we don't stick with any one particular run scheme, it's like, we're good at, what's the old saying?
Jack of all trades, master of none. That's what we are.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I think if we had a really good inside power guy, a LeGarrette Blount, who could also catch some passes, to be enough of a passing threat to keep defenses off balance, I think it would do wonders for this team. And then you keep Chris Thompson or Chris Thompson's replacement as the third down back. I think that is what this team needs more than anything else. And I think it would help the quarterback, whether it's Cousins or someone else, and we'll get to that later. To be able to rely on that running game to keep the train rolling, I think would do wonders for Jay Gruden's offense. That's my opinion.
I don't disagree with that philosophy. I think that's, my personal belief would be that would be ideal, is you have the one big guy and then the one speed guy.
But you just told me you wanted another Chris Thompson.
No, I'm telling you, I think that's the way that'll make Jay's offense work. Not what I like. If Alex Zeese was head coach and running things, we'd also have a fullback and we'd be doing a lot of power I
on the team. General manager.
If we're talking about what would work best for Jay Gruden, it's more Chris Thompson types and less Samaje Perines.
I just think Jay wants it. I just think Jay's never had it. I mean, the best running back he's ever had is maybe Giovanni Bernard in Cincinnati, and he's not exactly the second coming of Jim Brown.
Oh no, not at all.
He's never had a guy.
Still killing the game.
He's never had a guy. Let's give him a chance to have a guy. They tried to get that guy in Matt Jones.
They did.
They drafted Mac Jones to be that guy.
They tried to get it
Matt
in
Jones,
Samaje Perine. They tried to get it
either
in
one
Mac
of them worked
Brown.
out.
They tried to get it in Rob Kelly. They've.
Steve, why don't you give us a little bit about that Samaje Perine article you wrote? Why don't you give us a little summary real quick about his ceiling with the team, knowing that it's hard to diagose with the injuries we had this year. And
I don't have it in front of me, but I can talk off the top of my head about it. The point, I've done a series over the past couple years on the site in written form for those of you who don't follow what we write, called So What's the Deal With Really? That's the name of it. And so I've done a whole bunch of players now. I just did one on Samaje Perine, and the point of these columns is not a film study. It's to look at the performance statistics of these players going all the way back to college to see if we can determine the future with the Redskins. And so that's what I did with Samaje. And what we found with Samaje is that, number one, his performance at Oklahoma, he was an elite back. One of the best in the country in 2014. But his performance steadily declined all 3 years at Oklahoma. And it wasn't just the fact that Joe Mixon was there. I'm talking about performance indicators like yards per carry, I'm convinced now upon looking at it, that's probably why he fell to the fourth round, despite, the things he did. But Samaje is a guy who is an accumulator.
Right.
If he got more carries and he'd started over 16 games, I think he would have been projected out to about 900 yards. But the fact of the matter is, he was not very good from an efficiency standpoint. He didn't improve. He actually got worse there, tailed off at the end of the year. Certainly some of that's due to injuries along the offensive line. It's kind of hard to quantify. But what I think the piece really showed was that Samaje was a rookie. He did his best, but he didn't give us any indication that he could be that number one guy going forward. That's what I got out of studying his numbers.
No, and I think this kind of lends to, another thing about where we need to go, though, is that I think you can still get something out of a Samaje Perine for at least the remainder of his rookie contract.
Oh, yeah. I don't mean cut him. I just mean he's not the number one guy.
No, but I think that, and I was saying this in the preseason, and, not that I expect anyone to remember or care what I said, but I always thought that the ideal situation for him was that if Rob Kelly was the starter, Perine was just work on him as being a goal line back, being a short yardage, 1-2 yard kind of guy, because he's got the size for it. But I don't know if they work on that technique with him at all, or, we're not there at practice every day to see what kind of work they're putting in with these running backs to get them ready for games. But
I'll tell you what, I mean, I did another one of these pieces on Rob Kelly
I remember.
last offseason.
Yeah.
I think Rob Kelly actually has more potential than Samaje does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if either one of them are going to become, what we need.
No.
But I think Rob Kelly has more talent and it can be more productive a guy.
He's a little faster,
than Samaje,
which I think is important.
I think he has better vision. I'm not sure that Samaje has great vision.
I don't
just
think
seems like
anybody on our
sometimes
team does running.
No, not particularly. I mean, Chris Thompson does.
Chris Thompson, even running, is just average. I mean, his best threat is when he's in the screen game.
But here's kind of the problem. We've talked about these individual players. From a big picture standpoint, the Redskins have no running back that they can rely on.
No.
Like zero. We don't have a guy who's clearly a starting running back on this team. We've got like 10 of them on the roster.
Right.
Of which like 8 of them have had about 5 carries.
Right. Yeah, that's about right. And, to get even broader on it, it's why I always come back to the thought that I've had that they need to change the coaching, because you've given this guy so many different running backs to work with, and not one's really worked out as a running back. The only guy who worked out is Chris Thompson, and again, third down back, receiver, more than a traditional running back.
Right.
Maybe that's the... You got to at some point look and say, hey, somebody's doing something that's not working.
I mean, you couldn't help what's happened to Keith Marshall. You can't help the fact that he's been on IR for 2 years in a row.
And he's one guy who I think, I know a lot of fans have said he would have been impressive if he got on the field, but I think he's done.
I had really high hopes for him.
It's a big if.
Just because of what he did in college. I mean, people forget Keith Marshall put Todd Gurley on the bench.
Right, he was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He was a stud.
Yeah.
And somehow we drafted him in the 7th round because of injuries.
Yeah, injuries, and he's really fast. I mean, he would have been the fastest guy on the team.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't believe that after 2 straight years of these injuries, he's still a 4-3 guy.
I'm with you. I think he's done, probably.
Yeah, and I wasn't really that impressed with him when I saw him run in the preseason anyway. I thought he was a little disappointing. I mean, understanding it was a preseason and he was a rookie, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get it.
And but coming back from an ACL
or
horrible
something. Preseason.
It was
he just didn't wow me, though.
No.
The only other, I think the only guy, I mean, the guys went out, like Byron Marshall, came and went. He was injured.
Right.
Capri Bibbs, I thought all 3 of us, and Jamal, too. Jamal's out today, obviously, but I thought we all thought that Capri Bibbs showed enough
he looks
to
like
earn
he
a
could
shot.
have some upside, yeah.
And Doc,
to earn a
Doc
shot,
said that
sure.
last week. We asked him about Capri, and he said, Doc, Capri's, earned enough showed enough to earn a shot. But I don't have any faith in any of them are going to be the number one back. This is why I've been advocating, privately at least, not on the show, but I think they need to spend a high draft pick on a running back this year.
I would actually go one step further because of where we're picking the draft, and we don't really know, who's going to be there when we're picking.
And we have the whole Cousins thing.
Yeah, and we have the whole Cousins thing. I think we need to look towards some of these. There's some pretty good names coming out in free agency that they should possibly look toward. Both the running backs in New England are going to be free agents, and both of them kind of fit at least what I want, which is another guy who can be a good receiving back. Who's the bigger guy in San Francisco? He's coming out. He would kind of fit that.
Carlos Hyde?
Yeah, Hyde would fit that mold that you want of a power back, I think.
Yeah.
A little better. That's where I would be looking.
One or the other. I mean, I think the Redskins, one way or the other, be it through free agency as you suggest, or the draft as I suggested, one way or another, they're going to bring in kind of a quote unquote bigger name.
Going to be some new faces.
They got to bring in they got to get somebody who they can rely on.
Jay just can't keep going on and on and on and not have a running game year after year.
Right.
He just can't. He's not.
Well, or maybe he can.
Well, he can, but he's going to be gone.
Or maybe
he's
right.
not going to be head coach Jay Gruden. If he keeps
if we don't have Kirk Cousins and we don't have a running game next year, guess what? It's not going to be
pretty. It'll be the Colt McCoy show, and that show isn't going to get good ratings.
Yeah, 200 yards a game passing ain't going to do much.
I wouldn't watch that show. Not for $1 million. Okay, well, anything else about running backs you want to say before we switch over? I know we wanted to talk a little bit of Kirk Cousins stuff before to wrap up.
It's always
right
good to talk a little Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to go ahead and turn off now if you can't stand this
subject.
I think we put it at the end for a reason. We literally did discuss doing that.
We're just going to save any Kirk talk to the last segment just to,
Because we know out there you guys are sick of it, and some of you are. But the fact of the matter is, whether you like it or not, until this question gets resolved, it is the number one question on the Washington Redskins.
Right.
Kirk Cousins is number one.
It's like, what else do you want us to talk about?
Right.
We've got to.
I could have talked about Mac Brown some more.
Mac Brown is not even a Redskin anymore.
Right.
Yeah, that's still a close.
Look, here's the thing. I did a long. I did part 4
of your Kirk Cousins contract. Yeah, your opus.
Kirk Cousins and his coming king size contract. Mm-hmm. Yes.
When are you going to publish that in book form?
It's I've written enough for a book now. I honestly never thought, to be perfectly frank, I never thought I'd get past part 2, and I'm up to part 4, and it looks like I'm going to be up to about part 10
more
before we're done with this. It might very well be book size.
I think you should talk to Rick Snyder because he self-published that book recently.
Oh yeah, our friend Rick Snyder.
Yeah, talk to him about how do I publish a book on Amazon?
Can I just I'll say, Rick, can I just publish a 100-page missive on boring contract details on Kirk Cousins, and how do I do it?
He's so nice he would give you an answer.
He would. I know he would. Yeah, he'd have something to say.
He'd try to help.
Yeah.
But look, here's the thing about Cousins, okay? Just in outline form, because we haven't really talked about this on this show yet, actually. It's probably pretty good we do it. There's really 4 options. Number 1, they could just let him go. Not do anything, not make an offer, just let him walk. Mm-hmm. Number 2 is they could apply the exclusive franchise tag, which would be a 1-year, $34 million contract offer. Right. Number 3 is they could apply the transition tag to him, which is a 1-year, $28 million contract.
Right.
And number 4 is they could not tag him, but try to negotiate a contract. So those are the options.
Right. Most people say that last one is the best chance the Redskins have at a long-term deal.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's start with the exclusive franchise tag real fast.
Okay.
The exclusive franchise tag would mean that Kirk Cousins' camp is not allowed to negotiate with any other team. Mm-hmm. The Redskins could negotiate with another team for a trade, but Kirk Cousins cannot.
Right.
We get a lot of comments from people who are just dying to have Cousins traded. I think you're living in a fantasy world. If you think
there's no chance that
happen.
You can trade Kirk Cousins. 0.
And it's not that I realized somebody pointed out to me I'd forgotten that Jared Allen was traded under these conditions. But listen, that's an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. That was not a $34 million contract, okay? I wouldn't even pay that much for Tom Brady, honestly. I really wouldn't. Nobody, 0, is going to trade for a $34 million contract. And yes, don't add us. We know that the Browns have $100 million in contract space. But the Browns are not going to – even the Browns, I'd have a hard time believing, are dumb enough to want to trade for a 1-year deal for $34 million, okay? Mm-hmm. That isn't going to happen. And so the only thing that's going to come out of the franchise tag is that the Redskins are going to be stuck with a massive contract and not have the problem solved. It's the ultimate kicking the can down the road.
Right.
Scenario.
Right.
So let's talk about – unless you guys have anything more to say about that, let's talk about the transition tags. That's far more interesting. Transition.
Yeah, all I have to say about that first option.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we all say a big no. I give a big no to that too. Transition tag, $28.8 million, 1-year contract. But what this does is allows Cousins' team to negotiate with other teams, and he can sign an offer sheet from another team. If he does that, the Redskins have the opportunity to match said offer sheet. Mm-hmm. In which case, if they choose to do that, Kirk can only play for the Redskins or not play football.
Right.
Now, that does not come with any sort of compensation if, say, Cleveland makes him a massive offer that the Redskins can't match, which they could do.
Right.
And he walks. there's no draft pick coming our way.
Right. Well, there's a possible comp pick the next year.
That's different. That's different.
Yeah.
They're not going to get a comp pick based on the transition tag. Okay, the comp pick is only if they don't tag it.
Oh, really? So if they transition tag them, they don't. It's not
even
eligible
pick in that situation because they had a right of first refusal on it. So
gotcha.
The comp pick comes when there's no tag. So that's the problem. Number one, $28.8 million is way too much for Kirk Cousins too.
Right.
First of all, I wouldn't pay that much for him either.
Yeah.
It's a way to keep him, but it's also a way to get boxed into having either pay a fortune or see him walk and get nothing.
Right.
So thoughts on the transition tag?
Well, I remember you tweeted something out about this. Wasn't there a rumor going around that the Redskins were thinking about doing that now?
I mean, there's various.
Yeah.
I might have retweeted something, but I don't think it was anything from anybody, like one of the beat writers or somebody.
Okay, it was like a third party, an Adam Schefter nonsense rumor.
It wasn't even that up to that level.
Oh,
it was something else entirely.
Okay. So it was more like some podcast like ours put that out there and somebody took it as credible?
Yes, exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Well, we don't say that stuff on this show unless we really know.
No. We wouldn't say it ourselves. We've been offered stupid rumors and purposely not said them. But
turns out it was very good we didn't say anything about it.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so thoughts on the transition tag, Alex and Sean?
I don't want any tags.
I don't either.
I hate.
I don't want
the only tag I want is laser tag because I loved laser tag.
Yes, something we can all agree.
Play laser tag with. Maybe invite Cousins to the laser tag event.
I bet he would be
the only tag.
Dude, that'd be so
all in
much
on
fun.
laser tag.
He's just a nerd, nerdy enough to want to love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Nice.
I think we're all agreed there.
No tags.
We're all
Steve.
agreed there. The tag's a bad idea. The best idea is to not tag him and then try to negotiate a contract. My piece, that I put out had what I think would work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into too much detail. I said 5 years, $159 million. It would get the Redskins out, but it would get the Redskins out in year 3 if they wanted it. So I think that would work. It had, I think, $76 million. I think it was $70 million is what I came up with, guaranteed at signing. So that's a lot for Kirk.
Right.
Holy guacamole.
Yeah, and so that works. I think that would work. But the only way they get to something like that is just not tagging him. And the thing is, they have to be strong enough at some point to just say, okay, we're done, bye.
Yeah. You have to have a firm walk away point.
And it's got to be before the draft.
Right.
Has to be before the draft.
Yeah, no question. See, that's my big problem with the idea of any of these tags is he can hold off on signing something like a transition tag till after the draft. And what if he, stalls and we go through the draft and then something happens?
I don't even think it matters if he stalls or signs it. Mm-hmm. Even if he signs a 1 year, I think Cousins, if they put the exclusive franchise tag out there, I think Cousins is going to sign it in about 30 seconds.
Sure.
But even if he does that, I think you still kind of have to draft a quarterback because you're in the same boat, as you are now.
Exactly.
Right. I mean,
I think.
Remember how last year I was saying we needed to draft somebody pretty high, and we didn't.
And you were exactly right.
Yeah.
You were exactly right. I didn't see it at the time, but you were exactly right.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you don't.
What do you got? Temperature. I'm sorry. Temperature check. Then, what do you think the percentage is that he's with the team next year, right now?
40-60 against.
Meaning
40% with the
60% he will not be.
I'm actually pretty low on it. I think it's like a 15% chance at this point.
And you may be right, Alex. I just spouted that off the top of my head. I mean, it's certainly more likely than not that he will be gone.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sean?
And going through this whole conversation, hearing everything that you've said, I think that it's probably the best decision for the franchise going forward, no matter how you slice it. It sucks to lose Kirk. He is definitely our most...
Isn't it true that the team just doesn't believe in him
at
some level?
I think so. I mean, unless he is willing to come to the negotiating table and offer them a good deal, which I wouldn't do if I were him.
Why would he?
Yeah, I mean, why would he there's no point in doing it, but that's the only way I see him staying, is if he goes to them saying, I want to stay.
I really think if the team offered him my deal with a tweak here or there, 5 years, $159 million,
totally fair deal.
he would sign. That's fair. That's in the ballpark of reasonable. Because all you guys out there who claim that Kirk wants to go to free agency and blah blah blah, the Redskins have never offered him a fair, full 5-year deal, full market value contract, and said, Kirk, here it is. Let's make you say no. That's what you do when you negotiate in this situation. You go, here it is. I dare you to say no, and they've never done that. And so I don't think we really know what Kirk wants other than respect. And the Redskins have shown him none, in my opinion. So I don't know why he would want to give the Redskins any kind of break in this situation.
I'll tell you what
Right, and for nothing else, the relationship's so poor now. That's another reason you just got to let it go, because we'll just be back.
I just don't think they believe in
forever.
him. I think if they really believed in him, they would have signed him at least last year at a minimum.
All right, let me ask you a bigger question, because that was Sean's hypothetical. What do you think the chances are that they let him walk and they don't even offer him a contract?
Oh, I think 0. I mean, I think the Redskins I think we're going to see another Bruce Allen, not 0. I think very low. I think we're going to see another phony baloney Bruce Allen press conference that's in the back closet of Redskins Park.
But do you think it'll be like hey, we offered him 3 years, $60 million kind of thing?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so
I think that's exactly.
So essentially, it'll be a bullshit offer.
Yeah, it'll be enough to where Bruce can stand up with a straight face and say that we tried, although the people who know what they're talking about will know they didn't. That's what it'll be, I think, in my opinion.
All right.
God, this is such a Redskins offseason already. It's almost
let me
unbelievable.
ask you guys this. Let's assume Kirk goes, because I think, Sean, you agreed with us that it's more likely than not that Kirk somehow leaves, right?
Oh, okay. I do. I think so.
So let's pretend now we only have Colt McCoy on the roster, because right now, as we speak, as we record this, he is the only quarterback on the roster.
Right.
At least,
yeah.
We've run through 2 or 3 guys on the practice squad, but those aren't legitimate candidates to start. Right. So we're down to drafting someone at the top of the draft, and we haven't gotten through pro days and all that. We will have a lot on the draft, but what is your temperature check right now for which one of these quarterbacks? I'm talking about Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Mason Rudolph. Who do you think would fit best with the Redskins, and who do you think is realistic that they could get?
I don't think anyone who... I mean, I think the top 3 guys will all be gone, which will be Darnold, Mayfield, Rosen. Those 3 will probably all be gone by the time we pick.
Okay.
Mayfield's the one I keep.
And I think maybe even 4 will be gone by the time we pick. I don't want anything to do with Josh Allen. There was a video that came out from Senior Day today of Josh Allen, and they're trying to throw like a 10, 15-yard pass at a net, and he misses the net by about 10 feet. It's pretty ridiculous. Yeah,
awesome.
So I don't want anything to do with
Let's
him.
Put that up on the website somewhere.
I'm still afraid to go for Lamar Jackson because, the running quarterback thing, 2012 happened to us. So I guess I'm going for Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to come out and say I have no idea, guys. I know we're going to be doing mock drafts till the freaking cows come home.
Yeah, we'll be doing
the
mock draft.
So I don't know. Mayfield's definitely the quarterback that I hear the most people talking about, buzzing about now. But yeah, I mean, other than saying Colt McCoy and a rookie, I really don't know who it's going to be.
I don't know. I mean, I get your point about Mason. I think it's realistic he's going to be there. He's got the arm. He has faults. He's inconsistent. I'm just not sold on Baker Mayfield. I mean, maybe I'm in the minority here, but he's small. He played in a spread system, almost exclusively shotgun, a ton of play action. He hasn't played under center. I'm not sure he can really read the field in the manner that a pro quarterback would. I think he would have a big transition.
Who does that sound like?
It sounds like a lot like a less athletic version of Robert Griffin is what you're about to say.
Well,
bingo.
And that's kind of my fear. People love Baker Mayfield for some reason. I'm not going to take that away from
you. It's the personality. People love the personality.
Yeah, he's a winner. He's got the intangibles, and maybe he does. I'm just not convinced from a football standpoint. That he's going to be the best choice.
So you don't think he might not be a football player?
No, he is a football player. I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback. I think he might be a really good college quarterback.
Yeah. Here's my thing: whoever they draft, don't start him this year. They're not going to be ready. Just let him ride the bench.
Let Colt start.
Let him ride the bench. Go 4-12. Get a high draft pick next year, and then you start him.
Yeah.
And when Colt gets injured in week 3, they'll see
Well,
the field.
there you go.
Either way.
Let's add one more thing. You have to add somebody else in free agency who can be that second guy.
Well, like Ryan Fitzpatrick or
Yeah,
somebody who can come in.
Yeah.
And
There it is.
He can suck for us.
We haven't had a turn with
No,
Fitzpatrick
he's
yet.
played for like 19 teams at this point, never the Redskins.
Yeah. We'll take you, Fitzy.
I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick is. I was about to make a really dirty joke, and we're trying to clean up. I was about to make a really bad joke about Ryan Fitzpatrick being passed around like something else. But,
oh, Steve.
Yeah.
But in light of the
There are
fact that
children
we're trying to
listening,
become
Steve.
more family show, I'm going to let that.
Yeah, I've been doing a bad job
there,
of that
and you
today,
can
by the
fill
way.
in your
Sorry
own
about
blanks.
that.
I think, call me crazy again. I think Lamar Jackson, of the guys who are realistic, Rosen is the best pro rated guy by far. Darnold is going to be gone. I'm not totally sold on him either. Of the guys that are realistic, I think Lamar Jackson is the best choice. So
I just worry about the RG3 parallels and all that stuff, which is stupid. I know.
I'm telling
but-
you what, he is a lot better than RG3.
Yeah.
This guy's a pocket passer. He's got some accuracy issues. He really improved a lot. Last year I would have agreed with you, but I'm telling you, this guy knows how to move around in the pocket. He knows how to scan a field. He keeps his head up. He doesn't run like Griffin. He doesn't take off and run. Those runs were like designed runs. I think he's a lot better than people give it credit for. And quite frankly, I think it's not you, because I know you, Alex, but I think a lot of people out there are just a little bit racist. They see a black quarterback who can run, and they just automatically associate Robert Griffin with him because Robert Griffin is a black guy. And I think you guys I think you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. But I'm telling you that Lamar Jackson is a lot better quarterback than Robert Griffin, and he's a lot more elusive when he runs. Griffin is a straight line sprinter.
Right, he couldn't make
those cuts. So anyway, we have a lot of time to talk about that.
The only thing that I think might be interesting about that, and this might sound silly, Jay Gruden was also the Louisville quarterback way back when. Remember?
True.
So you'd have that weird parallel of
he has a soft spot in his little heart for Louisville quarterback.
Yeah,
perhaps.
maybe.
I think Jay just wants a quarterback
to
play who can be. I don't think he cares if he came from Pluto.
No, probably not. But
this point.
you know, because he did play. It was like 89 when he played there, so it's been a while.
Yeah, it was a million years ago.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to talk about this for hours over the next several months. So let's cut it there tonight. Let people get back to their lives. But trust me, so much more draft talk, quarterback talk, and running back talk.
I'm so excited when the draft
don't even
comes.
doubt that. I know. I can hear it in your voice, and it's depressing me. I'm proportionally depressed at how excited you guys get.
I love the draft.
I
wish people out there really knew how much effort Alex puts into the draft. I mean, someday we're going to have to tell everybody just exactly how insane he is when it comes to the draft.
We have thousands of hours of behind-the-scenes footage of Alex doing
sitting in front of his computer staring into a screen.
But I do all spreadsheet stuff. I'm not like some of those guys who sit there and watch all the senior day stuff.
I know. That's what the insane part is. You have a million spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the crazy part,
it is.
Alex. Watching
that nobody but you is even Alex, Jamal, and I have not seen these spreadsheets. Nobody but you has looked at them ever.
No.
Except you.
No. But hey, I mine was pretty good last year when I said, "Hey, Alan's going to be the guy. Alan's going to be the guy."
They were great spreadsheets.
Yeah.
There you go. See. All right. Well, we will let you get back to your lives there. Like we said, please go to thehogsdive.com. In addition to checking out our friends at ticketclub.com, sign up in the comments section and join our community. We're really loving the conversation that's going on there. We want to see you there as well. So, until next time, arrivederci. So long.